Trustee Williams.
Motion carries. Next is Chick-fil-A.
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 Filet. Okay. 701 North Milwaukee Avenue, presentation of
To Atlanta.
concept plans for construction of a new restaurant with drive-through. This is what, the old Pier 1, Mike?
Yes.
Where's
Correct.
Pier 1 going?
Apparently Pier 1's going.
As far as we know, they're leaving, but I have a call into the real estate department and trying to figure out what's going on there, and I just don't know. Joe, you're going to have to turn those back because it's on the camera. While they're setting up, their representatives are here tonight to talk to you about the concept plan for the current location of the Pier 1. Basically, what's proposed is the acquisition of the property, the demolition of the Pier 1 building, and the reconstruction with a new restaurant, and that would be about 4,900 square feet in size and have 136 seats along with some outdoor seating. So they'll walk you through this. You've got all the information in with regards to your packet. If the committee feels that this is appropriate or you want to give them direction as to the plans, that would be what is requested tonight. And if you feel that this should move forward, it would go into technical review and then an appearance before the Planning and Zoning Commission for a special use permit for the drive-through portion of the project. So there would also be certain setbacks for variations primarily related to the dumpster location. So with that, I'll turn it over to Joe and the guy from Chick-fil-A.
Good evening. I'm the guy from Chick-fil-A. My name is Jason Hill. I work in our design and construction department, and I thank you for considering our proposal tonight. I thank you, John, for your patience over the last 3 years as we've kicked around a few sites in the community. We're very much looking forward to becoming a part of the community. So we've been looking for a long time, and we finally found a site that works very well for us. For those of you that don't know, Chick-fil-A is a family-owned company. We have about 1,600 locations nationwide. That includes our mall stores, which is how we started, as well as our freestanding units, which is what we're proposing here. We're based in Atlanta, Georgia, and our freestanding units were first developed in the late 80s. Before that, the company actually began in 1967 in a mall just outside of Atlanta. And we were actually one of the first food uses inside of a mall that was fast food. And so we kind of pioneered the food court idea as the malls evolved over the years. And as I stated, we started building freestanding units in the 80s, and we're very much so ramping up that program now and in the future. And as you may know, we just broke into the Chicago market, starting with our Fox Valley store in Aurora about 2.5 years ago. And this location is a very strategic location for us, and it's part of our expansion plan. We look to probably open it next year sometime. And with that, I would be happy to answer any questions that you may have regarding Chick-fil-A. And Joe Vavrina with HR Green is here to answer any questions that you may have regarding the specific details of the site. Thank you again.
What kind of issue do we have with parking at this site?
And Joe, you can jump in here. The parking plan that you see here tonight does comply with the annexation agreement for the River Tree property. Yeah. And again, like a lot of our properties, it's governed under a PUD and the zoning provisions of the PUD. The parking on here is actually less than what is typically required, but again, in the current zoning ordinance, but it is in compliance with the zoning provisions of that PUD.
Going back to what, 1985, 86?
Yeah, something like that. Maybe a little bit later.
Well, what would they need now?
It'd be one space for every 2 seats, plus one space for every 2 employees. And I think
they don't have enough space.
Well, under our zoning provisions, absolutely, but they are under the provisions of the annexation agreement and the PUD zoning provisions, so they are in compliance. That's what we enforce.
All right. Trustee Cook.
Since we're on the subject of the parking and the parking lot, with that, there would be the cross easements that employees and stuff could park over in the western edge of the other part of the lot, right?
They would have to work through an agreement that's similar to what we were talking with the Payway folks about.
Right.
They would have to work through an agreement with Inland to allow that to occur.
Okay. I like, let me tell you the good news. I like the building. I like virtually everything, that I see of it, with one major exception. And that's the fact that your main entrance, to get into your main entrance, you got to cross the dual drive-through. I am not opposed to dual drive-through lane. We have that in town. It works fine at Portillo's, but the pedestrian traffic does not have to cross that. Is there any way that could be, that you could extend it, drop it down, and move the parking lot closer to the building or something? Because I really, it's close to a deal breaker. The idea that at lunchtime you're going to have people parking their cars and then trying to navigate across a dual lane drive-through lane. That just frightens me big time.
Well, I guess as we look at that, even your suggestion of, possibly relocating this and maybe pushing the parking up to the building where you have more of your traditional parking stalls and then you walk right into the building. I guess the issue that we have with that is if you were to try and incorporate this with the drive-through lane, you almost create a situation where that drive-through traffic now will stack up in, adjacent to this access aisle and almost cut off those spaces.
No, I'm talking about moving both pieces, because, look at that. You got handicap parking, and they're going to get out and go across two drive-through lanes. That just doesn't make any sense to me. And what I'm suggesting is you move the whole parking part up, and figure it away. Now, the problem then is additional access to it. I just can't see, or change the main entrance if you could somehow, because I just can't see people's main access to the building being across 2 lanes of drive-through.
Typically how Chick-fil-A has handled this in the past, and Jason can jump in too as well, is...
Like patrol boys? What is your name?
My name is Joe Bavrena, HR Green, civil
You
engineer.
gotta develop a sense of humor.
It's your Catholic school background that gets
The patrol boy thing? Yeah, okay. Well, a lot of people can relate to patrol boys.
Yeah.
Only if you lived in the city.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Well, I probably did. Okay. You want to speak to this, or he needs to speak to this, or you got to call Georgia, or what?
Absolutely.
Admittedly, this is not necessarily our preferred layout, but we have done many iterations of site plans on this site, and we do have other store locations like a Schaumburg that does have a scenario where we have parking and pedestrians have to cross over the drive-through to do it. Now, in order to make sure that there's no conflicts with vehicular traffic versus pedestrian traffic, we do, demarcate the crossing with a different colored concrete, so that it's clear to the drivers. And we also put appropriate signage up so that they can see that, pedestrians are crossing. Now, the other thing to add to that is we're not talking about, vehicular traffic that's moving at a rapid pace. It's a very slow, once they pull into the drive-through, everyone's going very slow. And yes, during our peak hours, we do have folks out there directing traffic as needed.
They're not
Where's your
traffic.
Schaumburg?
They're taking orders. It's like Portillo's. You have a dedicated employee to kind of direct traffic?
Depending on the site. We did
Sure.
have that situation in Fox Valley when we had the traffic concerns there. We had employees out there kind of showing cars which way to go.
Point and that drawing with the parking lot, where's the entrance?
Entrance is right here.
Yeah, that's problematic.
Where is your Schaumburg location?
It's on Gulf Road, just east of Plum Grove.
And you say that has the 2 lanes?
It does have the 2 lanes. The difference there is that the site is long, and so the crossing for pedestrians comes from the back of the lot. So there's there's parking up front, and then there's a bunch of parking in the back, and they cross from the back.
And do they have to cross the 2 lanes of drive-through?
By that time, it's narrowed down to one because it's just after the ordering stations. So it would essentially be where the sidewalk is shown on this particular plan.
Because I'd like to go down there and take a look, see how that one looks down there. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. And we are,
Is this outlet owned by Inland? Or are you buying this
We're-
whole lot?
we're buying the whole lot.
From who? From,
You know, honestly, I don't know who the seller is.
okay, and the building itself, are you just kind of renovating, or are you
No, it's a
demolishing?
complete tear down.
Okay, are you gonna use the pad?
We will use as much of the pad as we can.
So that's why you don't want to move it?
Right.
Because you'd have to move all your utilities and such?
Well, we do still have to relocate all the utilities to sync them up with our prototypical locations.
Yeah.
But the reason, again, and Joe can probably speak to this better because I just came onto this project, so I'm not aware of the history of how we came about with this site plan, but this site plan works well for us operationally while maxing out the parking. And it does give an efficient movement of the vehicular traffic on site.
Do we still have a moratorium on it regarding, sales, non-generating sales tax places?
No, sir, we do not. And this wouldn't be in that anyway because it
Yeah,
does
well, this is
generate.
going to be minimal at best.
It generates nickels.
Yeah.
Maybe instead of
Yeah.
flipping stuff, is there, I mean, you've got a lot of parking on the west and north and no entrance on the west or north. Is there a chance that the main entrance could be at that northwest corner of the building or something, somehow?
I mean, if you look at the existing Pier 1 building, that's where their entrance is. I wonder if you could put your entrance
Yeah,
there.
the west side or the northwest side.
The north.
Somehow, I mean,
Okay.
either the west side or northwest side. Actually, if you put the main entrance on the west side,
That's where the
it would
kitchen
make
is,
it,
right?
well, but if you put it on the west side, it makes it the most available to all of your
All
parking.
your
There
parking.
is a door there.
Right, there's a door,
There's an entrance door there.
there is a door
Even,
there.
Where
yeah,
is
but I
it?
mean, I
Where-
would like to
where's
see
the
it be your main.
door?
It's right in here.
Yeah,
So you could make your main entrance there.
Actually, off to the side, it's right down here.
yeah, but see, that's a
Right there.
single door and your main entrance is on the south side, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
You could do it, I don't know if it could be, I know you're using the pad, but you completely flip where the drive-through would be along the Milwaukee Road, which technically you're changing the building 190 degrees, and then your parking lot would be to the backside of the building, and entrance can be from side or back.
What, I mean, flip it at
Flip
full
it.
180?
No, 90.
90?
No, you can't go a long ways, I don't think, on that. That
All right,
doesn't- that
can I
doesn't
ask
fit.
Stan
But,
a question?
but also-
Jan, was any of this discussed with these guys? You haven't been having conversations with these guys for 3 years, have you?
Off and on,
Yeah?
yeah.
What,
Different,
any of these thoughts
looking at different
enter
locations.
anybody's mind? that-
Well, looking
we-
at different locations throughout the community, I
Oh,
mean,
all right.
we've had multiple discussions about the site plan, and, the crossing here, I talked to Trustee Cook today about that, and Joe and I had a conversation in attempts to try to address this. That site plan works. Is it ideal to the crossing? Not necessarily, but operationally, I think it probably works well for them. And, where they'll be impacted with people crossing is at lunchtime. And, if you read articles about what fast food is trying to do, they're trying to optimize the most number of cars through it at lunchtime in that peak hour between 12 and 1, or 11:45 to 1.
John, do I believe, though, if I am correct, in fast foods, 65% of the business is drive-through? Is that correct?
We're about 60 on average.
So it's not correcting, but you will look
Our
at,
packet didn't have a west elevation.
Yeah,
Do you
I
have a-
just thought we
Do
don't
you have a
have-
drawing of the west elevation?
Nope.
Wait, there's another entrance on the east elevation?
No.
Well, I see a door.
Oh,
Is that an
yeah.
employee
Oh, yeah.
door?
Is that the west?
This is the west.
Is there any reason you left that out?
No, it should have been in there.
No, we have the west. Oh, no.
No, we
I don't.
don't.
No, that's the south. Is that the south? No?
Got north
Okay, we
there.
don't have that.
And what's the one in the bottom?
that's south.
Here's west.
Okay,
Yeah, that's the one we don't have.
Yeah, that's what we don't have.
There.
all right.
See, yeah, if there's a way you could move the prominent main entrance
Well, isn't that an
to that
entrance?
side, well, but that's a single door. The prominent main entrance is the double door on the south side.
And then do you have another entrance on the east side? It looks like it according to this. There's another door on the east side. Service
Service
door.
door, right.
Okay.
Where's the kitchen at? All right.
Because that really is my only concern. I mean, everything else, I like everything else about it. That
Yeah.
just
Nice
is a
design.
serious
Yeah,
concern.
Oh,
and I definitely understand where you're coming from on that, and
Maybe if you look at the interior layout, you got a drawing on that? Maybe that'll help
no.
everybody. These are all
We didn't
exterior. I
have-
mean, what's the interior
We didn't,
layout?
we didn't have one, so,
floor plan.
You don't have one?
we didn't get one,
No?
so, right.
Well, how's it, okay.
I mean, the building-
kitchen's to the east, right? The cooking area and the,
Yeah.
And then we got
Okay.
refrigeration in the back.
yeah. So when when you walk in the door, you know, you can go left or right, obviously, but you're gonna go right.
If you go straight ahead, that's the queuing area for the cash registers.
And then all the
And they-
seating
right.
is to the west.
Seating's to the left, yeah.
Okay. So you think it's paramount they have a door right there? You know, the south elevation, the entrance into the store.
Absolutely. I mean, that's our main entry tower there. That's a big part of our,
Well, what if you put it on the north side? Is that problematic?
well, yeah, it pushes the customers further from the cash registers. That main entry brings them in right there at the cash registers.
Well, if they walk in, do you think they're leaving? I mean, you know, seriously. I mean, okay, well, I'm just saying, that would eliminate half the problem if you put the entrance, I guess, that's the exit then on the north side, right?
The-
The drive-through.
Yeah, the
Kind of,
drive-through.
okay.
Yeah, see, this
All right,
door would
shit.
require
Yeah,
guests to come in and kind of sneak
Yeah.
through the dining room to get to the cash.
All right, well, do you want to get this done or not? Because I got other stuff on the agenda, so, you know, whatever you guys get. You know, in all honesty, this is, you know, this is nothing special to the village,
Okay.
okay? So-
Can I ask why?
No, it's just, it's a fast food restaurant. We got plenty of them. So if you don't want to listen to what people are saying here at committee of the whole, that's your prerogative, and we'll move on, you know.
I don't want it to be,
You know.
I don't want it to sound like that's what I was saying. I was just saying I was concerned with the opening of the door. I have had lots of positive comments since have talked to people about this, presentation being made tonight. The comments have been very, very positive, and a lot of people that I've talked to have, would like to see it come to town. I'm just raising this concern because it just does look like a.
What do you think
safety
you're going to
concern.
do here in sales?
I haven't seen the estimate, but ballpark, I'd say 3.2.
Okay.
And Chick-fil-A,
What 1% of 3.2 million?
what was that, 3,200 bucks?
32,000?
32,000?
Okay. Whatever, anybody else want to weigh in on this? But this isn't on my short list, this whole project.
Well, and
So,
one other thing
anyway.
I'd like to point out is that Chick-fil-A's community involvement is much deeper than a typical fast food restaurant is. I mean, our operators own one store, and they're focused
All right.
on that one
Yeah.
store.
Okay, whatever. I mean, I'm serious. I mean, the trustee, you have the,
I'm going to tell you that it's not one of my priorities to have another fast food restaurant in town. I'd rather see something else, so I wouldn't probably support your store.
yeah.
It's not what I would envision there, I'm sorry.
Well, thank you for your honesty.
Sure.
You still
Okay.
closed on Sundays?
Yes, we are.
Okay.
Like I say, I'd really like to see it come to town. I'd like to see if we can work this out sometime.
Thank you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, anybody who's a transplant from the south, they've been asking for these because these are this is the predominant fast food franchise of the South, especially the Georges.
People have been clamoring for it here? Come on.
As much as they clamor for anything, as much as they clamor for Dave Mason, who may need a defibrillator
Hey.
to get him up there, but that's all right.
It's not a very, good segue.
I thought it was appropriate, another over-the-hill
No.
operation.
No. Okay, then, whatever. Okay,
Anyway.
Speak your piece.
The bottom line is, if you're a southern transplant, this gives you a kind of feeling of home. Be nice if we could figure out a way to get you in town.
Yeah.
This isn't exactly the most ideal location in my mind for a fast food franchise. I mean, but then again, we've got other locations that aren't ideal either. So if everybody's qualifications can be met, I'd be willing to go ahead with it.
If no, does everybody want to weigh in on this? Trustee Schwartz?
I don't have a problem with the concept, but I am as concerned as Trustee Cook is about the walking across the 2 lanes, so that would have to be fixed.
Okay, Trustee Markwart?
I'd have to say the same. It is another fast food restaurant, but again, with the name and stuff, it's a very good fast food restaurant that you have. Although, again, it's the same thing with the people walking across. If there's a way we can design it differently, then I have no problem with it.
There's a McDonald's in Heartland that has the double, and it gets a little dicey because they've got all their parking on the other side of the double line. And when it's backed up, it's not a problem, but it's actually the point in time when we'll say at 11:30, when you're not at your peak yet and people are trying to squeeze in there. A lot of people will kind of wheel in there pretty quick, like. At least that's what I've seen up there. Heartland is in Wisconsin, the other side of Milwaukee.
Yeah, the one place we have in town that has a double lane has gone so far as to cone off their one access to it during peak hours, so that you have to go a second row over to get into the drive-through, just to avoid conflict with pedestrians.
Well, that would put the main entrance on that. Where's the east elevation? Is there an entrance on the east elevation?
No, east is just,
See, well,
Service center.
you're thinking, I know you're talking about Portillo's, and yeah, literally, you walk in the front door, and that would help, but that's where their kitchen is apparently, so,
Yeah.
I don't know. All right, fine, you want to give them the speech, Bob?
Yes, I get a speaking part. Generally, my speaking part is directed to those applicants who walk out feeling that there were no issues and it's going to be a slam dunk and the village board loved everything. And my message to them is this is just advisory. It gives you a preliminary reaction and nothing that the village board says tonight is binding on them. You heard some concerns, so you know what you need to deal with, but it's not a binding vote. It's just to give you an idea of what their preliminary reaction is.
Great. Thank you for your time tonight.
So preliminarily,
Thank you.
you might have a chance. If it's 3-3, you don't have a chance. That means I get the vote.
Okay.
Unless you comply with some of the requests that are made here.
We'll
And I'm
We'll
sure you've
work on
done your
that.
pro forma, and you realize this is a wonderful, wonderful location. So talk
Yeah, we
amongst
wouldn't be here
yourselves
tonight
when
if
you
it weren't.
leave here tonight. Okay?
Can I ask one quick question?
Yeah?
How would the board feel if we kind of reworked the site and tried to redo the drive-through lane, where the drive-through lane
That's-
kind of wrapped around the front and then off the back, to where we can try and separate that? Would there be any opposition to having the drive-through lane between Milwaukee and the building?
That was my suggestion. If you
Okay.
turn the building, move it to the front, and your
Right.
drive-through would be towards the
We
left.
might be able to work something out in that fashion. I just didn't know what the reaction would be if we had the drive-through lane between the building and the
Basically,
wall.
anything that would eliminate the
Right.
pedestrian drive-through
Conflict.
conflict.
The conflict.
Okay.
Portillo's
Yeah,
has their
That's
drive-through
really all I'm
6
looking for,
feet.
is something to,
It's fine.
Okay.
to eliminate that conflict.
Okay.
Thank you.
We'll take it back and work on it.
Yeah.
So you didn't bring Plan B with you tonight?
I'm sure we've got Plan M by now.
He's working on his sense of humor for
Yeah.
you.
Well, jump back, Loretta. All right, let's keep moving here then. All right, guys.
Thank you, John.
Thanks.
You know, we'll see you, and we'll try to work with you within reason.
Sounds great.
Even though you generate 32,000 a year for us. Whoop-de-doo.
What did Pier 1 generate this last year? We have any clue?
Probably nothing. They're not open, are they?
Who? I'm sorry.
Oh, they're still open, aren't they?
But
They're still
Yeah.
open.
this is better than putting a bank in.
Yes.
I mean, I could, I'll give them that much due.
Yes, sir.
Come on.
Oh, yes, he is. Well, the peacocks.
Oh, God. Okay, fine.
ridiculous.
All right, what's next?
Friday.
Okay. Is there any reason why we can't approve this? Is there anybody here from TGI Fridays? Okay, you don't have to come up here necessarily.
Well,
There-
give him a chance to
Well,
pitch
He's been
it.
sitting here all
Well,
night.
I mean,